Welcome to the Yanagida Podcast show, episode 31.
Yeah.
I got a special guest today. I got a friend and longtime friend now, like 3
Yeah.
years we just said, right? A
Yeah.
picture. Actually, a little longer than that.
Longer
then.
than that.
So
Mhm.
we got Michele. She got her NASM, the National Academy of Sports Medicine,
Yeah.
nutrition certification. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And we're diving right in.
Yeah.
So I'm curious,
Let's
like,
do it.
how did you get started in that? Because that's a very particular area, right?
Right. Yeah.
Nutrition.
Do you want to go down the long road or the quick road?
Yeah, let's do that. Either one, yeah. Let's hear
So originally I had studied nutrition in college. So I went to my college for dietetics and nutrition. Long story short, I ended up going into athletic training. So it kind of took me down a different road. I veered away from nutrition and into taping ankles and helping people out with the athletic system. But it wasn't what I wanted to do ultimately. So I ended up getting kind of skewed off track and somehow got sucked into hotel management. So it took some time. I took some time off from nutrition. And then when COVID hit, I, had been working out a bunch and really like having the time to prep my meals and getting back into nutrition. And I was feeling good. And I was like, wow, all these people are just sitting at home eating junk food and feeling like crap ultimately, and like, just giving everything away just to sit on their couch and eat bad. And I was doing the complete opposite. So I was like, I feel really good. This is the best I've ever felt, which is funny because in a COVID world, everyone else is kind of doing the opposite. So I had all this downtime and I started to think like, what could I do with my time? And so I just started studying nutrition, and I was like, okay, hold on. I'm reigniting the fire, and this is exactly what I want to do. I want to help people understand nutrition and how to get to the next level and how to incorporate it with your life and really like be just full circle nutrition, fitness, and answer any questions that people might have about like where to begin and how to go from there. So I took my NASM certification in September, so not too long ago. But I'm always, I don't know everything about nutrition, but that's the thing about nutrition is you're always learning. So I'll continue to learn, and we'll see what happens.
That's incredible. And
Yeah.
everyone's probably curious, why the NASM, the NASM? Because I went through NASM certification as well.
Right.
So what
Yeah.
drew you to that nutrition?
Well, I did look at a few different ones. So I enrolled in NASM because I heard, I did the reviews and stuff, and I heard it was something that you can do in a short amount of time. So I said, okay, let me dive into this, and if I can do it in a short amount of time and retain information, then that's great. But of course, with nutrition, there's so much information out there. So I did the NASM, and I also enrolled in precision nutrition. So I have that in the works as well. So I haven't completely finished it, but I'm studying that. And along with NASM, I did a health mindset certification. So it kind of gave
You're
this.
on it.
Yeah.
Dang.
I know. I fully submerged myself, and I just wanted to keep learning. But to hear the psychological side of nutrition was something that I had never really dove into. So that was extremely interested to see how you can self-sabotage yourself and how your mindset can affect your physical fitness and your goals, and that all really made a connection. So it's funny that your diet, your nutrition, and your fitness all come from a mindset.
The mindset.
Yes.
Oh.
So super good stuff. I did that with Dr. Casey Jo Ordivis.
Got it.
And she does some podcasts and stuff like that too. But she's super knowledgeable from Raleigh, North Carolina. Super cool girl.
Oh my gosh, this is
Yeah.
really cool, Michele.
Yeah.
It's like a different version of Michele. I mean,
Totally.
it's just crazy because
Yeah.
you've always been high energy and
Yeah.
you go and
Yeah.
go giver, and it's just
Right.
really cool now. So
Yeah,
doing nutrition.
Yeah, I feel like my energy is going in the right place now because, before I've had jobs where I hated it and I was giving all my energy to my work and my job, and it's just not fulfilling. And so I was like, how can I get out of the COVID world and fulfill myself? And that's why nutrition was so important to me. So we'll see.
Nutrition.
I'm on a mission.
Yeah, I love it. And
Yeah.
before we go into our audience's questions, if you guys got questions, send them to Yanagida Podcast at gmail.com
Yes.
or leave them in the comments. Subscribe. Man, come on, support you guys. Support us.
Support local.
Yes. Okay, so before we get into the questions, it's just so crazy because I just want to acknowledge that,
Yeah.
Michele, because I remember you doing marathon running.
Oh, yeah.
I remember you doing all kinds of stuff,
Yeah.
green juices and all these different things.
Yeah.
And we
So
met
much
at
stuff.
Ka'ahu Manu.
Yes. Yes.
Was it through Tony?
Through
initially?
Tony, yeah,
Tony
who
Rojas,
actually I think
shout
just
out.
connected us again.
Just connected us again, Tony.
She is a master connector.
We gotta get Tony here, man.
Yeah,
Tony Rojas, when you're watching
yeah.
this, shout out. Come on, man.
We gotta get her in here.
We gotta get her in here. So
yeah, I did. I was running. I think the last time I was here, when I was doing your classes, I was running, and I lived close by, so I would run past during the classes.
That's right.
Yeah, that was a whole another realm of. We can get into that later. But yeah, how I was running too much, not fueling adequately, and ended up going to the hospital and all that stuff. Yeah, so that's another fuel source for.
So could you go into it? Because that's something that people might be interested in.
Yeah. Actually, it's funny you say that. So what happened, I was running. I was marathon training. So I had a very physical job. I worked for a private owner that owns out here in Hawaii.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
Yeah. And so I had a physical job. I would clean their house. I would do all of their like maintenance, property management, full circle. And, you know, I would do that. And then I would get off of work and I would go run 6, 12, sometimes 15 miles.
15 miles.
Yeah, sometimes
That's
at the peak
crazy.
of training, I would run 15 miles in the heat. I'm talking like 90-degree summer heat, humidity after work. So I was just burning out, stress just piling on. I thought running was my outlet from stress, but I didn't realize it then, but it was just adding to all my stress. But yeah, so one day I was at work. I think it was like around Thanksgiving time at this point, about like a month before my first marathon. And I was at work and I was walking up the steps and like my whole legs and my arms went numb. And I thought, oh my God, I pushed myself too hard. I'm having a heart attack, and went into full panic mode. And I drove myself to the hospital, and I was on the way to the hospital and I was like, oh my God, I think this is it. I think I've overdone it. I don't know what to do. So I get to the hospital. They take your blood work, you know, they pump you with an IV and everything, and they say, well, all we can say is like take some potassium and don't run for a while. And so I was like, okay. But then I ended up going to a doctor, and a doctor was like, you should get an MRI. You should like try to go on, you know, these different medications. You know, the first thing that doctors think of is medication and all that. So yeah, I was like, no, I don't think that's it. And my boyfriend at the time had said, you know, he was a triathlete, and he was like, I can tell you right now, what you're doing wrong is you're not eating enough. And I was like, but I don't understand, like I'm eating a good amount of food and I'm running, like how can I eat more and not gain weight? That was like, didn't make sense to me in my mind, right? And he was like, just trust me, you need to fuel yourself for these workouts. And so I stopped running and I started like lifting weights and stuff. And I went back to the doctor. I did, you know, like follow-up visits and stuff. And they're like, okay, how are you feeling? And I was like, I'm feeling better. Like I'm fueling myself. I'm hydrating. I'm feeling better. And I ended up doing like physical therapy for a few months because I was like, I don't understand why my arms and legs went numb. Like that's really what was making me.
And then what did they say?
It was, well, this is funny. So it was stress. It was all the stress on my body. And the funny thing that I learned about nutrition is that stress comes in the form of not nourishing yourself enough. So that's a stressor on your body. Stress in general, like the stress of your daily life, is stress. Not sleeping well, not hydrating, not resting, not recovering. That's all stressors on the body. So what happened, I like after I had gotten over this like hump of rehydrating and feeding myself correctly, which I did through macro stacks, which we can again get into later. I had posted something on social media and I said, this is what happened to me. You know, the moral of the story is don't stress yourself out because this is what happens. Like these are the ways your body can respond to stress. And I had so many people reach out to me and say similar things have happened to me. And I had no idea. You know, that's like not the kind of response that I normally get from my social media. And people that I've known for years reached out to me and said, I know what you mean. Stress is a killer. Like, how did you overcome this? And so that's another reason why this nutrition was so important to me, because then I realized like there are other people out there going through this that don't know how to navigate it. And so for me to now have the knowledge, like I see it every day at work now. People are just so stressed out, not eating right, just, you know, unhealthy. And I'm like, trust me, these are the things like we need to look at. This is how you're going to move forward. And so just having that knowledge alone has really like, again, fueled the passion for nutrition. So that was more important than anything on this journey, is to just be able to like show that to other people, how to overcome it.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
It was really scary. It was a really scary time in my life because I really thought like maybe I'm sick, you know, like the doctor had mentioned like maybe you have MS or something, and I was like no, I'm no. Like, you know, like I refuse to accept that. And so like, you know, the old saying, let food be thy medicine and medicine be thy food. Right. And so I started to fuel correctly, and month by month and like week by week my symptoms all just kind of faded away. And then I got rid of some stressors in my life. I quit my job. You know, I walked away. I changed some things. And I know everybody can't do that. So that was a very extreme measure. But everything ended up working out. And I haven't had a symptom since. So I feel really good.
Incredible.
Yeah. And I really give that all to like the nutrition and fueling myself properly.
Wow. So people are dying to know, like, what are you fueling yourself with now? They're like, what's the fuel? What's the fuel? Right? Because people can probably relate with the stress. Because I've checked myself in the ER as well, too. And
you have.
Same thing. And there was massive anxiety attacks where I would just collapse.
Yeah.
And same thing, they would just give me electrolytes. And even the most recent one, I checked myself in. And they were like, oh, you just, you know, need electrolytes. Wow. I was like, got it. Electrolytes, you know, lemon, all that good stuff. And
yeah, because you drink something every morning, right?
Yeah, we'll do the lemon stuff. And I actually hadn't been doing it this period of life.
Right.
And that was most likely the reason why. Wow. So it's so crazy.
It's
like what you're saying,
stuff.
It's lifestyle. What you're putting in. The gas.
Yes. Yeah.
Are you putting in good gas or cheap gas?
A little of both. Yeah, you know, that's the thing too. Yeah, I think people think that because I'm in nutrition, I have like a perfect diet, which I do not. You know, I try to eat as clean as possible. I try to eat fruits and veggies with every meal, especially like dinner. But at the end of the day, I just eat what feels good for me. And I think that's important for people to do too. Like, don't try to just eat fruits and veggies and try to be as clean as possible, because if that doesn't work for you, then it's never going to be something you can do long term. Right. So even though, like, I'll say like on a day-to-day basis, I wake up, I have like an English muffin with peanut butter before I do anything. Coffee, English muffin wakes me up. And then protein pancakes I'll do with like a vegan breakfast patty or a vegetarian breakfast patty, which has like tons of protein in it. I'll do a post workout smoothie or something like that. And then throughout the day, this is where I don't get many, like, I shouldn't get very much credit for this, but I usually do like turkey pepperoni and some cheese sticks or something like that.
Sounds good.
Something that you
turkey
can like.
Pepperoni.
Yeah, it actually is really good.
Wow.
I know, but it's protein and it's, you know, you get like, you're full after eating it, and I bring some cheese, sometimes some crackers, you know, so it's not the best, but it's fuel, and I know that if I have that with me, I'm not going to get hungry.
Right.
So usually I don't do a lot of processed food, but there are definitely times when I do processed food. So I'm not perfect by any means. I experiment with a lot of different foods, but really it's just, I eat kind of a boring diet now. It's kind of like the same thing every day, but it's good. It works for me. So, you know, that's really the key to anything, is like just doing the same thing and what works for you and creating consistency, and that's where the success comes in.
That's so true.
Yeah.
That's so true. And like what you're saying, it's consistent, and sometimes like what you're saying, it's not the most sexy diet, right?
Yeah.
Like even for me too, like the majority of the time, not every day of course, but maybe like 80% of the time, 90% of the time, it's just very simple. Oatmeal or something in the morning. And then, or it'll be a protein shake and a banana with coffee. And then lunch will typically be like typical breakfast foods, 3 eggs with 2 slices of bread, right?
Yep.
And that's pretty much lunch. And then midday, I'll either have almonds, a fruit, or a protein shake. And then dinner is some starch carbs, some veggies, and like a piece of protein.
Right. So it's nothing
very
too
simple.
Crazy. Yeah, but you can sustain it. You can do it every day.
Since college.
Yeah.
So
and that's the key, consistency. So.
Gosh, we gotta dive into these questions.
I know. Go for it.
So people are always asking, Justin, what is this whole ketogenic diet thing?
Oh, I knew it was coming up.
What are your thoughts on this? And of course, my thoughts are in the book, right? I wrote The Fighting Sickness. It's in there, but people are curious, like, what are your thoughts on?
Oh boy.
Ketogenic diet?
Yeah, so keto, I've had a few friends ask me that as well. And the first question I ask is why? And usually their response is, well, because people are talking about it. And I'm like, but why do you want to do it? Do you want to give up carbs for the rest of your life and have under 50 grams of carbs and be able to navigate that the rest of your life? Then if you can, then go for it. But the thing with keto, people think keto makes you lose weight. And that is 100% incorrect. What makes you lose weight is a deficit. And you can get to a deficit by not eating carbs, not eating fat, and just eating less in general. So the reason keto gets this good rap is because people are taking away their carbs. Carbs hold water. The nature of a carb is with water, right? So your body stores all this water, and then when you go on keto and you take carbs out, you immediately lose water weight. So people are like, this is great, you know, I'm losing weight. And then a month down the road, ask them how they're doing. And I bet they say, I'm tired, I don't have energy, you know, my sleep is suffering. And you have to ask again, so why could that be? And so they're not fueling their body correctly. And they thought because they lost weight in the beginning that this is going to be what works for them. But all they lost is water weight. So there's a difference between losing weight and losing fat. And that's exactly what they did, was they lost weight because they probably went to the scale and the scale changed. And they used that as their tool to navigate what they chose, you know, for keto. So that's a big misconception. And I think for some people, for health reasons, they may need to do keto. But for the average day-to-day person, I don't feel there's any reason to do keto. You know, if you want to lose weight, there's different ways to do it. And that comes in the form of adjusting your carbs and your fat and eating enough protein. But as far as cutting out carbs just to lose weight really quick, I don't think it's sustainable, and I don't think it's a good route to go for anybody, especially a young person that, you know, is just like, I want to try it. I don't think it's worth it. So I'm pretty stuck on that mentality, and I know a lot of like dietitians and people also are on that, but I know a lot of people that do it and they swear by it. So
that's true. And like I pretty much see it like how you do, basically, where it's like a tool in the toolbox, like just like the same way with people swearing by kettlebell training, or people swearing by push or what do you call it, calisthenics, or people swearing by weightlifting. You know, I agree with all of them. It's like a tool in the toolbox, just like nutrition, like paleo, keto, you know, plant-based, all these, because the theme of it all, to do it healthy, just to do a healthy keto, I typically see a lot of vegetables, you know, stuff like that. That's the common thing: water, vegetables, and protein. Regardless of like whatever, you know, some are higher in fat, some are higher in carb. And so it's just what you're saying, what we can sustain long term. I for sure cannot sustain keto long term, because I did it in college, right? Because I was once we were all 19, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna get shredded. I'm gonna get six-pack. And then I was the lightest I was ever since I was a chubby kid. But then I built some muscle, and then I had some abs popping. I was like, But then after like a couple months, I was like, ooh, I don't know if I can keep going. No rice, no rice, no potatoes, minimal fruit. 50 grams of carbs is rough.
50 grams of carbs by breakfast. I'm over that. You know, it's funny because as somebody who is small, I'm only like 5 feet tall, and I eat over 200 carbs a day.
That sounds about right.
I can tell you that I am the leanest and the fittest that I've ever been, and this is the most I've ever been eating. So carbs are not the enemy, and there's a lot of carbophobes out there, but the carbs are not the enemy. It's yourself, that you're making yourself the enemy at that point by getting rid of carbs and just, you know, not giving them a chance and not understanding the whole concept of how to lose weight and how to do it properly. So you're doing yourself an injustice, but if it works, it works.
Exactly. And, you know, that kind of goes into what you were saying about the mindset side. So can you walk us through that? Like, you're a little bit about mindset and our psychology. So a lot of the mindset stuff, there's something called a growth mindset and a fixed mindset. And the whole concept is, when you have a growth mindset, you're able to overcome obstacles. So like, for an example, right?
say somebody comes here to the gym and they are pumped to like work out with you. They're like, I'm going to go work out with Justin. I'm going to have a good workout. After this, I'm going to go fuel correctly. And then I'm going to go home and like, you know, not watch TV and read a book or something like that, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's one person. Imagine your next client comes into the gym and they have a fixed mindset and they're like, I'm tired from work. I'm over it. I don't want to work out. This isn't worth my time. I'm going to go home and binge ice cream and pizza because this day sucked and that's it. This is never going to work for me anyways. I'm just wasting my time. So really the mindset there, if you have a growth mindset, you're going to inevitably have a better workout because you're already in that positive thinking aspect. Whereas the person with the fixed mindset might be the one that's shrugging around during the workout or kind of like the slower one in the warm-up. And you can tell, you can see the difference, like the person who wants to do good and the person who's just given up. So that's one aspect of it. The other psychological side is like the habits that people create and habits that people don't realize that they're doing. So as far as like a habit example, let's say somebody like myself, honestly, goes to work all day, doesn't eat properly sometimes, and comes home and just automatically grabs the cookie jar because they're so hungry at 4 o'clock and they can't wait for dinner, and they just scarf down a bunch of cookies, right? So that's a habit that they have. The mindset and the psychological side of this would be, how do I break this habit? Because they can be doing everything right that day, right? They came, they did your workout, they did great. They had a great day at work. They have this growth mindset, but then they get home and they sabotage themselves at 4 o'clock with a cookie jar every day. So the psychological side of things is being able to realize that your habits are setting you back. And so this person who goes and grabs the cookies every day, if one of the ways to break a habit is to create friction. So to be able to put that, let's say you put that cookie jar, instead of in a reachable shelf, you put it on the top shelf. So now when you come home, it's not at your at ease, right? You can't just grab it off the shelf. So now it makes you think, why are my cookies not there? So then you have to then, let's say, get a ladder to get up and then to get your cookies. So you have to think about that process. And so that's how you break like a habit. So the psychological part of all of this is just bringing the awareness to other parts of your life that don't involve like working out and don't involve like necessarily your planned meals. So these are things that you do just because you do them. So being able to realize that you're doing them is breaking a barrier. So it's very interesting. Yeah, there's some really cool studies that are shared. The coach that I took the certification with, she shares like tons of statistics and information about studies that have been done on how psychological factors come into play more than you would realize. So super cool stuff. Yeah, I
like that whole friction thing.
Yeah,
because it's almost like breaking any bad habit, right? Of like people snoozing their alarm or anything like that. Like what they're always recommending, where you make it where it's not right within arm reach, exactly across the room or something like this, so you're forced to get up. Right, it makes you think about it too, like, oh, do I want to get up? Is it worth it? And then why is it over there? Why are my cookies across the room? Yeah, exactly. So it's some really interesting stuff, and it more than anything, what I learned is to always ask questions, you know, and for people to understand why they're doing something, you really need to ask probing questions and figure out, you know, like, okay, let's say you go to your workout and you had a bad workout. Why? Like, why did you have a bad workout? Oh, because I had a stressful day at work. Well, why was your work day stressful? I'm kind of just going to there, and that's how you get to the root of problems. And a lot of times with like nutrition coaching and nutrition, what we find is that nutrition isn't so much the problem, it's all of these other things in their lives that are the problem, and not being able to like realize the problems that are lying within their lives. But asking these questions help people bring that awareness to them, and they're like, oh, okay, you're right, like my day wasn't so bad, or tomorrow I'm gonna do this different because this ruined my day today. So little things like that, that even, I mean, you and I can probably think of something today that we did that tomorrow we might not do. So I like that. So it's it's like an overall lifestyle.
Right.
Like, I
Exactly.
really like that because just like what you're saying, exercise, nutrition, sleeping, recovering, are all like
all
components
together.
of the big picture lifestyle.
Totally. Yeah.
Dang.
It all
I like
encompasses
that.
itself. Right.
And that's so true. Like what you were saying about if somebody had a bad workout, let's just say at 5 o'clock,
Right.
and then the initial reason is, oh, well, I had a rough day at work.
Mm-hmm.
But then why, like the probing question, why did you have a rough day at work?
Right.
Well, you know, my boss was doing this, this, and this. Okay, but why do you think your boss did X, Y, and Z without
Right.
blaming, taking responsibility?
Exactly.
Well, I kind of came in late today, and I probably was kind of disheveled because I woke up late. Oh, why did you wake up late? Well, I snoozed my alarm. Why did you snooze your alarm?
Exactly.
Well, I stayed up watching Netflix. Boom. Like
Exactly.
exactly what you're saying.
And then you find the
And
root
then
of the problem.
That's the lifestyle. Oh, that's some
Yeah.
deep stuff.
Yeah,
And
it's
I
pretty
like
cool.
that.
It's really cool stuff. It really makes you think about your own life too. And
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of journaling that you can do to really figure out, like, okay, how do I overcome all these issues and that stuff. So yeah, it was really great.
Dang, Michelle.
cool.
This is good, man. Like, okay, I'm gonna take
Yeah.
some questions from the audience now.
Oh, okay.
So, first question from Caitlin.
Oh.
What are dairy substitution suggestions that also taste great?
Well, it depends. So a lot of people lean to soy, like
Okay.
soy milk, almond
yeah, that's
milk,
right,
things like
yes.
that. They make soy yogurt now, but you have to be
Interesting.
careful with that stuff because the point of yogurt for me is protein. And
Right.
when they make soy and almond milk protein, there's really not a lot of protein and they put a lot of sugar in it. So you have to be kind of careful navigating that. But otherwise, if you're trying to get, I don't know what the point of or what she is using for dairy free, but other things are like tofu, right? So if you want like protein, stuff like that, tofu, anything soy, all of that stuff. So there's tons. I mean, they make almost everything lactose free, dairy free.
That's true.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
there's a lot really to have. I guess what I would ask her is what you're trying to substitute, and then I can give you a list of suggestions and things like that. But almost everything, I feel like these days is dairy free and lactose
That's
free,
true.
or they have a version of it. So.
Right, like lactose free cheese or
Yeah,
milk or
right.
yogurt
They do
or
like
anything. Yeah.
vegan cheeses,
Yeah,
yogurts.
it's
Yeah,
crazy, and it tastes actually pretty good.
it's pretty freaking good. Yeah.
Yeah, that's wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So next one's from Asia.
Oh boy.
What are some tips about nutrition
Uh-huh.
for longevity?
Choose what works for you.
Mm-hmm.
If you hate vegetables, then eat vegetables as much as you can, but don't force yourself to do it. Because if you have to force yourself, it's not going to be sustainable. Otherwise, just choose whole foods as much as possible. The more natural, the better. The more plant-based, the better. But as far as like overall nutrition, don't stress yourself out about it. Just try to be more mindful of what you're eating. So if you're eating processed foods all the time, try to take maybe one processed food out a day and see where that gets you. And if you feel better, then you take 2 processed foods out a day and go from there. But yeah, the thing with nutrition is you can't really overstress about it day to day because there's so many other things in our life that stress us out. So just really figure out what feels good for you. And for me, like I said, that's a good combination of like protein powders, processed foods, cheeses, meats, whatever it is. But I know I feel good. And I don't know how the longevity will work out, hopefully in my favor. But so far it's been working. So,
Wow.
yeah.
See, that's incredible. And I'm guessing, like, I was just reading this question. It's kind of similar, but let me just read it.
Okay.
What are your suggestions or advice for someone who is completely new to eating healthy consistently?
Oh.
Would it be kind of like what you're saying, that remove
Yeah.
one bad thing? And
Precisely, yeah. So the thing is, people try to do too much too fast, right? So they're thinking January 1st, let's say, for example, New Year's comes around. I'm going to eat only vegetables and lean meats and yogurt. And then you're a week into it and you're like, I can't stand this. And it's because you took away too much too fast. So like I said before, so if you're eating 5 processed meals a day, try to do 4 and see how you feel. and just make small increments and adjustments as needed, and you'll start to feel better. So you'll understand when you start sleeping better, when your day is more productive, you're going to understand that, okay, these little changes are helping me. So imagine how changing even more is going to help me even more. So it's really your body will dictate how you're feeling, and it will make the change, and it will send sensors to your brain saying, this makes me feel good, keep doing this. And that's really how you get to a sustainable version of eating healthy. So small changes, don't do anything too drastic, and then just trust the process. I mean, there's a lot of choices in the grocery store, and one of the things I actually read, which I had no idea of until I thought about it, when you go grocery shopping, try to stay on the perimeter of the grocery store, because that's where all the whole foods are. So when you get lost in the aisles is when you kind of like get all the processed foods. So if you can keep your way away from the middle of the store, then you should be good to go.
You should be good to go.
Yeah, go to the perimeter first. That's my tip.
I like that. The perimeter, that's the suggestion we always give, the outside, right? Because you got the fruits, the veggies, and then you have some sort of seafood or produce, and then, I mean, the meats.
Yep, and all the cheap processed stuff goes right in the middle.
So, dang.
Yeah.
So, Michele, like, what is some of the most common lifestyle, I guess, changes that you make with people? Because I know there's a bunch. What do you normally see?
As far as like my coaching, or as far as just in general, like
I guess
guidelines?
In general, yeah.
I think the number one thing is just to move more. I think it's very underestimated, the movement that you make throughout the day. And so I think little things like going for a walk, you know, if you have a dog, take your dog walking an extra 10 minutes. Or if you have a desk job, try to go outside and take a walk, because what people don't understand, working out is great for you. Building muscle is great for you, and you do burn calories. But for the rest of the day, your body is burning calories, but that comes from non-exercise thermogenesis, which you know of. So your NEAT activity, which is everything you do aside from your workout, is really where you burn the majority of your calories. So
for those listening, what does NEAT stand for?
Non-exercise activity thermogenesis. Yeah, I was like, wait, I have to scroll back in my brain really quick. So that's everything you're doing aside from your workout. And so that's most important. You know, you don't want to work out and then go sit for 12 hours and say, well, I worked out, so I'm good for the day. So you want to keep moving, and I think, you know, that's good for longevity too, because you don't want to just be like a couch potato, and moving actually gives you more energy. So that's definitely tip number one. And again, I'm going to say in general, don't do too much too fast. And that comes in regards to what you're doing as far as working out. So like cardio, you know, people are like, I'm going to lose weight, I'm going to do 100 minutes of cardio a day, and that's all. And that's not the way to do things either. And I'm guilty of that also. I've been down that path, and it doesn't work. So, you know, just come to somewhere like, you know, an establishment like yours, and start lifting weights, and start really just like incorporating high intensity activities, and incorporating a little bit of cardio, and definitely do some weights. And doing strength training is going to be more fulfilling, and it's going to make you have like a better body composition. And cardio is not going to recomp your body. So really start lifting weights.
I love that advice. That's music to my ears.
Yes. And that's something that I had no idea about until recently too. And so, you know, the last 3 or 4 months, I've really been just doing weights, and I cut out running, so I'm not running anymore. And I've seen incredible progress. So I'm a firm believer in, you know, I love cardio. I do it for my sanity. Sometimes, you know, I walk my dog plenty of times a day and stuff. But for body recomposition and to get tone, you have to do some weights. So
I love that.
Yeah. So fun stuff.
Okay, I like that. So that's the 2 tips that you would give for lifestyle.
Yeah.
Okay.
Keep moving. Don't do too much too fast.
Yeah, that's a really good one. Don't do too much too fast, because that's so true. Because the person that is gung-ho, like, hey, I haven't worked out in 8 years, and I'm going to work out 5 days a week.
Yeah.
It's like, bro, let's just work out 1 time a week first.
Right, exactly.
Let's just get your first one. and then let's not overdo it so you can't move for 3 days.
Exactly.
Right? Let's just kind of break it in a little bit. You know, you might be a little tight, but
Yeah.
you're not gonna be like, you know, can't move for 3
Right.
days. So I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, and that too comes along with like find a workout that you like, because
Yes.
once working out becomes like something that you don't enjoy, you're not going to do it. Just like finding foods that you don't like, you're not going to eat them. Like you're not going to eat a bunch of vegetables if you don't like vegetables. So
Yes.
so figure out something that works for you.
Yes.
And then just, you know, incorporate it in small doses, and then you'll work up to working out 5 days a week or whatever it is that you feel comfortable. So and then I'll give one more tip. Don't underestimate recovery. And, you know, I'm guilty of this too, but take a day off from working out. Don't work out 7 days a week because you feel like you need to because you ate too much over the weekend, or, you know, don't punish yourself for your food. And really just, you know, take the recovery, take the rest day, because your body needs it, and your body will thank you for taking a day off. So
I like that.
yeah.
Dang, Michele. So, you know, this is incredible. And people are probably curious, what do you do for those 6 days? Because you were saying take the 7th day off.
Yeah.
So people are curious, like, what does Michele do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I do typically work out 6 days a week. Sometimes I will surf, but I like to do active recovery. There's never a day where I just sit and veg out on the couch.
Got it.
Just because I feel good moving, and I don't feel like I need to sit on the couch because I always have so much energy and I don't ever feel that depleted. So, you know, I walk my dog, take my dog, run plenty of hikes and stuff like that.
I love your beagle, by the way.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah.
What was his name again?
Oki.
Oki.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Little joy in my life.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've had lots of time to bond during COVID. So lots of walks, lots of exercise. He lost some pounds too.
Hey, dog's losing weight.
I know. People have even said to me, like, he's getting skinny. I'm like, yeah, don't give him that much credit. But yeah, active recovery is best. You know, just keep your body moving and keep, you know, just keep moving is the key to life, I think. You know, there's a saying, what is the saying? If you slow down, if you never slow down, you never get old, right?
I like that.
So you just keep moving. Just keep moving and eating good and having a good growth mindset and just enjoy the little things of life, and you'll be fine.
Dang, Michele. Oh my gosh. You know, it's just this is just so crazy. Like like we were just saying earlier, this has just been so fast. Like we're heading towards the end of our podcast, and I just want to ask you like one more question, one final question.
Sure.
We love asking all of our guests.
Yes.
When you hear, what does fighting sickness with fitness mean to you?
Oh man, you got it right. Fighting sickness with fitness. The only thing that you can do for yourself is take care of your body. And I think you nailed it. You know, fitness is the key. Once you, like I said, get moving, keep moving, build muscle. Muscle is the key to longevity. If you ask people, you know, like muscle is what's going to keep you going. So I think you have done everything right. You teach people to come to this community environment where they enjoy being fit and they understand how much it benefits them and gives them much more energy. So I think fighting sickness with fitness is exactly what it says. You're fighting off sickness with just bettering yourself and just moving. Just move a little bit, and you nailed it.
I love that,
Yeah,
Michele. And you're
I hope
doing
you
this
coined
too.
that.
Yeah, we actually it's
Good.
protected. So
Yeah, good. Yeah.
Yeah, because it actually came up randomly one day. I was working out 4 years ago.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, like, when in doubt, go work out.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I would say these
that.
random things of like, and then the first time I jumped on the radio,
Okay.
I don't know why it came up. I was just like, well, check us out at Yanagida. Before we were Yanagida Strength and Fitness.
Right.
For more info, check us out at Yanagida Strength and Fitness. We're fighting sickness with fitness.
Right.
I was like,
Oh, that kind of
that
is
actually
good.
sounds pretty good.
And it
people are
makes
like,
sense.
fighting sickness with fitness. I think I could dig that.
Yeah. And it's true.
Eventually just
Yeah.
kind of, you know, changing it with eating, recovery,
Yes.
training,
Yeah.
lifestyle,
Yeah.
the natural way. And that's why we wanted to bring you on board. We're like, dang, Michele,
Yeah.
like what you're doing at food is like the
Yeah.
work of like the OGs, right? The
Oh,
Socrates
totally.
and all these guys.
Yeah.
And food.
Yeah, it all comes full circle.
My
For
gosh.
sure. Yeah, well, congrats to you. I'm super proud of you. I came here today and kind of blown away by your extra space and what
With the
you've been
expansion.
doing. Yeah.
Yes.
So I feel like you're doing all the right things.
Well, Michele, thank you. And one more time, I just wanted to acknowledge you, Michele, for sharing what you've done and being transparent and pulling the curtains behind of what went through with the marathon and the ER experience and all of your tips and all the growth. And it's like a reinvented Michele.
Right?
I
do. I feel reinvented.
Exactly. It's like a different, it's like a version.
Totally. I feel great. This is the best I've ever felt.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Like I see the
Typical me.
I love it, Michele. It's just ball of light, ball of energy, ball of positivity.
Yeah, same to you.
So, thank you so much. And for those watching, thank you guys for joining us. Please subscribe.
Yes.
Come on, man. Come on, let's go. All right, guys. Love you guys. Happy holidays. Happy New Year.
Yay.
Let's get a good start to 2021.
Woo.
Done.